pussy popping, you beautiful humans. My name is Ariane Andrew.
I'm Matt Dillon, and welcome to another piping hot episode of Sippin' the Tea, where we what, girl?
Where we sip the tea and our guests spill
that
tea.
Ari, I miss you. I miss you. Hearing you give a little pussy popping shout out.
Well, who's this one already chatting away here? I haven't even given you your introduction.
Sorry. I'm like the worst guest. I do that all the time.
I live for you. Well, we have, she's a slashy among things, commentator, WWE alum. My favorite is the news that you just shared that you're a mummy-to-be, which I think is adorable. Renee Paquette, what's up, girl? Are you ready to pussy pop now?
I'm ready to pussy pop. I mean, like, I did a few months ago, so, like, maybe I shouldn't be popping too much.
We're going to get into that.
Oh, yes. We're going to... We
Let
got
me sip that tea, honey. I'm about to fall off my goddamn chair.
This is going to be so much fun. I'm so ready for it. Okay, girl, we're going to dive right on in. So 2020, let's just say it's been interesting. A lot going on, a lot of positive, a lot of negative, but we're here to only focus on the positive because we got too much goddamn negative shit happening in the world. So what have been some positive takeaways from 2020, not including what's in your belly? We're going to get there. So other positive takeaways of 2020.
I would say that we've all been forced to slow down. I feel like we've all just been on this like rat race, like working so hard, busting our asses all the time, and now kind of finding a new way to do that. Maybe reevaluating some of the things that we have been spending our time on that maybe weren't fueling us the way that we wanted them to. So I think for me, it's really been that like changing the pace of life for a little bit, getting away from that WWE schedule obviously is like a huge way to do that. Cause as you know, that schedule can just be so gnarly. But you know, it's slowed down before that anyways, obviously just because of COVID and everything. But yeah, I think just nice to be able to take some time, reevaluate what we really want to be spending our time doing.
And what has been some of that reevaluation for you? Like what has been something personal that you've taken away from like, oh, I want to kind of like change that direction for myself? Like, you know, anything, like any reflective moments from like looking
back? I'd say definitely I spread myself a bit too thin. So I'm trying to like reevaluate that. But even just like spending more time at home, spending like more time with my husband. We get to spend a lot of time together anyways, but it's nice in these like other circumstances to be like, oh my God, look how much we still love each other after being in quarantine for forever.
I like that. I would hope so.
Right?
I know, right? Honestly.
Well, we're going to just go out of order because I already knew it was going to be like that. We weren't going to follow a schedule. Speaking of your husband, Jon, you guys kept that a secret for like such a long time.
Honey, they had a People magazine exclusive. They had to. Darling.
No, but I'm just talking about before they started like dating. It was it just kind of came out of nowhere. So, girls, spill the tea. So yeah, how did you guys start dating?
So as you would know, I mean, you would have known Jon before I did because you were on the road before I was. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I started on the road with WWE, him and I just like instantly started talking. He would always just like message me, or he would talk to me in catering or around talent viewing, whatever. And I remember, think it was it was either Trin or it was one of the Bellas that they were like, he doesn't talk to anybody and he's talking to you. So, and I didn't know that he was like that because he always spoke to me. So I was like, I don't know. We just always talk. We just have a friendship. So we definitely kept him to wraps for a while. He's also, as you know, he's very hard to read. So for the longest time, I was like, are we kind of seeing each other? Aren't we? Like, he's really hard to gauge. But then I was still also trying to play it too cool to be like, well, I don't even care anyway. So like, whatever, just is what it is. Like just being like casual about the whole thing. So we kept kind of going back and forth. He was living in Vegas, which we both live here now. And I was living in New York. So we would spend a lot of time kind of bouncing between the two. We spent most of our time in New York because we're usually on the East Coast traveling with WWE. So yeah, we would just spend a lot of time together and like on the phone. He used to call me a lot too. I remember like before we really hung out, he called me and I was like, said Dean Ambrose on my phone. I was like, ew, he's calling me. I didn't pick it up. It freaked me out. I was like, who called someone? Now I love that he does that. He is like a phone caller. Yeah, so the first time that we actually like hung out, we did in Orlando because I didn't want him to come to New York to my apartment. Cause I was like, what does he think? Like, he's just gonna come to New York and I'm just gonna like sleep with him and we have to like, what happens then? I was so weirded out about it that I was like, yes, exactly. Drink up. So I was worried that I was like, hey, he thinks he's just gonna come to my apartment and then we're gonna sleep together and then I don't know what. So I kept like putting it off. I'm like, you're not coming to my house. Forget it. It's not happening. So we ended up meeting on neutral territory, which was Orlando when I was doing NXT. And he was actually very sweet because even then I assumed they're like, oh my God, he's just gonna come to like my hotel room. But he got his own hotel. He was so sweet and so fucking cute. So we spent so much time talking to each other leading up to this. He knew all my favorite drinks, all my favorite snacks. So he had like everything set up in the hotel room when we went to hang out. And we stayed up until like 4 a.m, just chatting like best friends. So it was like one thing led to another and then ended up finally getting it on.
And that is how it happens.
And then we've been together. Literally, we've been together ever since then. Like that was like our first hangout, and then we've literally been together.
That is the cutest. With the whole like staying up when you just can go to Mars with someone is like next level.
It was the best. Yeah, and we could both kind of feel that it was like, okay, like obviously we like each other, but neither of us wants to be the one to make the first move. I think we can both be like kind of shy in that situation. So just like either have a bunch of liquid courage and figure it out, but something needs to happen here. I cannot just be your best friend. I mean, we are best friends, but like.
And for people who don't know Jon, like he's a very like to himself, very quiet person. And like Renee said, like you just can't. You're like, I don't know.
So hard to read. I've had so many people be like, does he not like me? He must hate me. I'm like, no. And I tell him this stuff and he's like horrified. He's like, I don't get why they would think I don't like them. I'm like, dude, you just get that feeling sometimes because, and this is the thing that I wish I sometimes had more of. Like when I say that I spread myself too thin for people, he is the complete opposite. He is like butter straight from the fridge. That shit ain't being spread on anything. He is not being spread too fucking thin. So people often think that he doesn't like them. And then I have to make up for it.
She's a jack of all trades, honey. Well, I want to, we're chatting. I want to get to know you a little bit better because you girls have a thing. So I want to get to know you and your journey. I love that you're like multifaceted, from commentating to little reality television with Total D, like across the board. So I want to look at, how did you end up getting into this WWE crazy freaking world? Because I've been like, my toes dipped in it and I'm like, no girl, that's some crazy ass mofos out there.
It is really crazy. It was one of those things that like it just sort of happened. Like life takes you in weird places sometimes, and I'm very much of the opinion of like, cool, this seems like a fun opportunity, let's try it.
I love that.
So I'm very much about that. So I was working in Canada as like a sports broadcaster. I use the air quotes because like I was kind of like a fake one. I would do like comedy interviews and like write comedy jokes about sports. Like I was not giving hard hitting facts on sports.
Keep it 100.
Yeah. But then I started doing a wrestling show in Toronto because we had broadcasting rights to WWE. So I was like, okay, sure, I'll do that. And it was great. I loved wrestling when I was a kid. So I got back into it, really leaned into it. And then once I knew I wanted to move to the US, and then WWE picked up my contract from there. So I started working with them, I guess it would have been about 8 years ago. And it was never something that I really planned on doing. Even when I went in for my first like audition and my first meeting with them, I was like, I don't even know what I'm going to be doing here. They're like, do you want to wrestle? Do you want to, they're like, Mickey James has a singing career. Like, what kind of things do you want to do? I was like, what is happening? I didn't know what I was doing, but it just seemed like such a cool thing to be a part of. And it's so vast that there's just so many different things to choose from. So to go from, doing backstage interviews, hosting studio shows, hosting big kickoff shows like WrestleMania, SummerSlam, whatever, doing Total Divas, and then being the first female commentator in WWE, like just all these things that I never would have thought to be possible. They weren't even on if I was a vision board person, they were not on my vision board. I had not a clue.
That's crazy. I love that. Like you just seem like the type that just leans into, all right, I'm gonna go with this.
Yeah, and I like to make things work, and I like the experience, and I like to work in general. I love to put in the work on things. But I think that world, you just get so sucked into it as well. It's like, for me to be like, holy shit, 8 years passed that I was there. Like in that time.
8 years?
8 years.
Whoa.
How long were you there?
4.5, I think.
4. Yeah.
4.5, maybe 5, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, it just goes by so quick. But it's like, you know, I meet my husband there. Some of my best friends are there. And then it's like another opportunity. Like there becomes another mountain to climb of like, hey, now we've got this thing for you. Now this thing. So sometimes it's hard to kind of get off that ride. But once I figured that I had achieved most of the things there that I really wanted to do, I was like, okay, now on to another adventure.
I like that.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I mean, and girl, you killed it, and you just have that personality. You always just got along with everybody. You just have that happy-go-lucky where it was like, damn, Renee is bomb. Like, I can't say one bad thing about you, you know? But with all that being said, with everything you have done, it's very hard to stay in the WWE because it is a beast. You know what I mean? So for you to have had the longevity you have had, it's like super impressive. So I do have to ask, so someone who is trying to step into the world of WWE, whether that be anything really, because they, like you said, they throw you into multiple things. You're like, I gotta do what? I don't even know how to do that.
Yep.
What advice would you give to have longevity like how you've had?
Fake it till you make it, baby.
Ooh.
They just throw so much stuff at you that, yeah, I mean, like you just said, there's so many times that you're like, I'm in over my head. What they have just given me to do is above my pay grade. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do my best to figure it out, or like find the right, I think that big thing too is like finding your right allies within WWE. Because a lot of times everyone wants to give you their advice, and you don't take everyone's advice. You find the people's advice that you do trust, people whose advice that you really want to like lean into. And I think that's something that is very, very helpful, because there can be a lot of voices that get in your head pretty early on about how to behave, what to wear, what to do, et cetera, et cetera. So finding the right people to kind of lean on. But yeah, I think the big thing is just like, I mean, I've kind of done this just throughout my career, but like, sure, you want me to do that? No problem. I'm going to figure it out. Sometimes it can get you in a bit of a situation, but it's fine.
I couldn't agree more with you. It really is. You're like, you know how to do this? You're like, yeah. Oh, fuck. Okay. Well,
totally.
I got an hour to figure that shit out.
All the time. Like, oh my God, what am I doing? What is this thing they asked me about? Do you know what this is? I don't even know what it is. Like, it's like so much time like spent like Googling things or like pulling someone aside. Like, what is happening?
Sure.
I mean, I've always had Jon to bounce ideas off of. Thank God. I mean, he's so versed in the wrestling world that it was great for me to have him on my side for so many different things. But yeah.
I like that. It seems like a nice grounding for life. The advice that you just gave, I think people could apply that in anything that they're doing, whether it's in WWE. But I love your like kind of adage of like just jumping in. And yeah, sometimes you're gonna get stick to shit, and then sometimes you'll be able to just flow and roll with it. I think that's really you're very bright light. I like this. The energy's great. It's like,
I mean, the wallpaper helps. The wallpaper.
I was about to say. Yes, honey. Well, let's talk about the bun in the oven, shall we? Because I'm living, honey.
Yeah,
me too.
How are you excited? What was that first moment when you found out? Were you together with Jon? Like, how was this?
We're both so excited. So we had been like, I say like we had been trying, but really I was like, yo, we should have a baby. And he was like, wait, what? So like, I'm the one with like ovulation sticks and like all these pregnancy tests. And he's like, you tell me when you need me and we'll figure it out. So I had constantly just been like every month, like, okay, let's pee on a stick and see where we are. So I got to the point that I was really like, okay, you get to the point you're over it. You're like, this is becoming not fun. And then I was like legit not trying. I was like, I'm just going to like throw it all out the window, whatever. as everyone says, this is how it happens, and they're not lying, but you have to get to the breaking point first. And I was at home, we're sitting on the couch, and I just happened to be like, I've got a very full bladder right now. I got to utilize this. And I knew that I had an extra pregnancy test. So I'm like, I'm just going to pee on it, whatever. I'm sure I'm not pregnant. I've not been for the past year. So here we go. And I went upstairs, peed on it, came downstairs, and we like crossed paths in the kitchen. I was like, just waiting for it to change. And literally as I showed it to him, it changed to positive. And we were like, oh my God, what? Like totally freaked. I was like, wait, that's mine? I just did that? That's me? So he shuts everything down. The dogs are barking because they feel all this energy. Like everyone's freaking out. And there's a Walgreens across the street from us. He's like, he came back from Walgreens with like 7 to 8 pregnancy tests. We're like, I can't say we, I was peeing on them all, and they're positive. I was like, oh my God, it's happening. Yeah. So it was like just total excitement. So pumped for it. But what a like weird roller coaster too, of just like, oh my God, I'm pregnant. Now I need to change everything. I can't have coffee. I can't have, obviously, no alcohol or anything. I can't have deli meat. Like all of these things. I know. I just want a fucking sandwich.
I was about to say a deli sandwich from the bodega, honey.
Yes.
Let's get into it.
That's what I want.
Let's get into it.
I know. Yeah. But anyways, yes, very, very excited. It's such a cool experience. And especially now, I'm like in the very beginning of the second trimester, so I'm not feeling sick anymore. Thank God. I'm a little bit tired, but I feel pretty good. I like, knock on wood, I've been really lucky that I've not been like, some women are so sick and they have such a bad time. I'm like, I've been kind of good. So hopefully.
I don't mean to brag, but I'm feeling good.
Right. I don't know about everybody else, but pregnancy's working for me.
Y'all can fuck off. I feel great.
Wait, pregnant women are like, shut up.
Do you have any like different cravings?
Yeah, I have a sweet tooth now. I never used to have a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
I was all about savory foods, and now like I want like donuts. I've been having a lot of fruit, which I know is not that exciting. But yeah, definitely a sweet tooth for me is one. I baked some cookies yesterday. It's very fun being pregnant during the holidays because you don't have to give a shit. You're like, well, I can have the cookies, I can have leftovers, and no one can say, not that anyone would say anything, but yeah, it's pretty great. But the sweet tooth is one that's interesting for me, especially early on. That I was like, who am I? What's all like? I wanted like all my tea in the morning, like with full sugar in it, like just regular white sugar.
Yeah.
Love that. Give me that sugar rush. It's this little girl's begging.
She's like, give me that shit.
Yes.
I want to ask on the flip side, because talking about the changes of things, was there any fear crossing your mind? I mean, we're currently, however you look at it, back in a pandemic, not sure where the pandemic's at. Was there any fear of like, holy shit, like this is like happening like on the cusp of what they say is going to be another big rise in things? What was that? What's that like for you as like?
Yeah, it is scary. It's scary. And like, I mean, for me too, it's like, I'm 35, so I didn't want to wait like too long. And it's like, hey, if it's going to happen, let's do it now. Also, just like career-wise for me, there's never really been this lull where it's like, cool, let's just make this happen. But yeah, it is scary. Like, I think hopefully by the time my kid is like old enough to be aware of like what's going on, that we're like beyond the mask thing, and hopefully I don't know, but it is really crazy to think about of like, oh my gosh, like, are we just gonna have to like homeschool our kids? Like, how is this gonna happen? There's so many things to think about that it really is such a trip. Even just going to the doctor's appointments and stuff, because it's like, luckily my husband can come into them with me, but there was a period where they weren't having like, you couldn't even bring in your like significant other for the OB appointments and stuff. You have to like FaceTime them in.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That stank.
Yeah, I know, it sucks. The one good thing I will say that's like, I mean, it sucked, but I've already had COVID. So I have the antibodies, or at least I'm assuming I still have them. I need to go actually do one of the antibody tests, but I'm hoping that that's kind of working in my benefit as well. Because I have to be so careful. I have to be like super careful to not get it again. I know it's kind of rare, but it's so much worse on pregnant women. So I'm like, I've just been at home.
I mean, but the great thing is that, not the great thing, but it's like you've already had it and you're usually less susceptible to get it once, it's like it's in your body. But
yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I'm like kind of banking on that, or it's at least like a little bit of peace of mind. So
I'm not pregnant, but I'm banking on it too because I had COVID in February. So I'm like, right before.
Let's hope that we're good. I know you hear these stories about the people that got it twice. You're like, you've got to be shitting me.
Yeah.
I'm
but
like,
if we're gonna put positive energy into the atmosphere, into the universe, that healthy baby, no COVID, and you're good to go.
I think positivity, and you're filled with that great energy. So if you keep this energy, I feel like you're gonna be spot on.
Yeah, you've got a good attitude, a great mask, and some hand sanitizer. You're good to go.
Yes.
Welcome to 2020, baby.
But welcome to the new normal. Okay, girl, we don't want to keep you too long. So before we do the rapid fires, beside being this most beautiful, vibrant mom to be, what are the plans for 2021? Anything career-wise, or you're just kind of like taking a break and being like, you know what, I'm gonna focus on my little nugget?
Well, I don't think I don't really want to take a break, but it's kind of reevaluating what to do now. So I've got a cookbook that's coming out in May 18th, 2021. So that's something that I'm really, really excited about, to get that out there. And with that, I would love to like piggyback that into like maybe doing some fun like Food Network stuff, or like some of these new Netflix shows that have like they need a host to come in and talk some food.
Wait, it's Rachel Ray. Rachel Ray, darling? Yes, darling. Let's get it popping, Rachel.
I would love to just like, I want that Rachel Ray model. Nobody's really done it since her. Like having like a talk show that turns into some cooking.
I could see you doing it. That's why I said her name, because I was like, you are somebody that I didn't know, and I don't have that history like you do, but you are somebody that I think is relatable to everybody.
Love that.
And that's why, so put it out there.
Put it in the universe, because girl, you're so talented and you're so personable. You know what I mean? And you have like this vibe, like people will just be like, I don't even know her, but I'm about to watch her.
Exactly. Exactly.
So. I hope so. So that's something like, just when I think of like other career things, I mean, that's something that's like way up my alley, or just like, yeah, I want to find a new show to like really sink my teeth into. I'm doing some stuff from home right now that I love to do that are just like my own projects, but it will be nice once some stuff starts to open back up, and then I can really sort of start taking more meetings and start figuring out what like that next big move is.
Yes,
I'm ready to work.
She's ready to work, honey.
Yeah, me and the baby. I gotta put this kid to work. You kidding me? I got bills to pay.
But okay. So we're gonna do some quick.
We're gonna do some what?
Some quick rapid fires. So girl, please, not 2 minutes, just whatever comes to mind real quick.
Okay.
People give us our life story, like, no, rapid fire.
No.
All right.
Rapid fire, baby.
If you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be?
I'm gonna go Jenny Lewis, Bowie, and Audrey Hepburn.
Ooh,
that's a dynamic. That's a dynamic little situation. All right. Yeah. Netflix or chill, or night out in the town before you were pregnant, though?
Netflix and chill, always.
Always? With your mans, with someone. All right, I see you.
Yeah, we're a little homebody.
I see you.
Nothing wrong with that.
I mean, it's not like I'm not drinking on my couch. Let's get that.
I was about to say hello.
I see you guys' Instagram photos. They're having a little date night.
Always. Yeah.
Mornings or late nights?
Mornings. That's recent though. Normally it's late nights. Mornings for me now.
Interesting. And when you can get out of the house and like babies, where's your dream vacation once there's some normal, whatever it is, that normalcy?
Normal.
Lately I've really been craving a trip back to Maui. I really have Hawaii on the brain.
That's easily accessible. Yeah. Anything crazier?
It totally. Easy to do. Also, I not recently, about a year ago, actually, I went to Tokyo with my husband for the first time. I would love to go back to Tokyo. Love. Yeah, Tokyo's cool as all hell.
Definitely have to go visit there. I have never been. So I need to put that on my list too.
Oh my God.
Thank you, girl, for reminding me.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, you would love it.
Girl, it has been amazing. It was so great to have you on. We're going to let you get back to your life. But before we do that, Let everybody know where they can follow you at. Keep updated with the cookbook. All the things you're working on, girls, spill the tea.
Here is the tea. You guys can follow me at Renee Paquette on both Instagram and Twitter. My cookbook comes out May 18th. It's called Messy in the Kitchen, my guide to eating deliciously, hosting fabulously, and sipping copiously. You guys can find that on Amazon. You can find that on Barnes & Noble. You can find that on Indigo in Canada. Just search my name and there that will come up. And I have a new podcast called Oral Sessions, and that comes out every Tuesday, everywhere that you get your podcast.
Honey, I'm gonna be tuning into that. Ooh, I'm a bit hot under the collar.
Sadly, it's not what you think
I'm sure it's not, but I'm gonna let people think it's what they think it is. So
clickbait.
Get them in.
Right? Where can we follow you at, Matt?
You can follow me at Matt Dillon 1983.
And you guys can follow me across the board at Ariane Andrew. And of course, follow Sippin' the Tea TV show on Instagram and on Twitter at Sippin' the Tea TV show 1. So we will catch you guys same place, same time for another edition of Sippin' the Tea TV show.